It's not by chance that you're viewing this video. There's a reason you're here. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the timing of your life and know that you're being led to where you're meant to be. As you stumble on this video, perhaps not by chance, it will serve to awaken your spirit. You have been crying out for clarity, asking God, when will it be my turn? This is your confirmation. This is your divine notice that everything is beginning to shift, not by chance, but by design. You are not merely about to exit survival mode. You are about to enter into supernatural provision. You will not simply have enough. You are stepping into a season of more than enough. This is the prophecy. You will no longer be the borrower. You are becoming the lender. And this transformation is not solely about financial abundance. It is about walking in spiritual authority, influence, legacy, and dominion. To help your spirit fully receive what your eyes have not yet seen, we will unfold this revelation in 7 divine chapters. But before we go deeper, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, because what you are hearing is not just content, it is a divine confirmation for the chosen ones. A heartfelt thank you to everyone who has continued to support this ministry through Super Thanks. May God bless you abundantly. Your presence, your faith, and your consistency are seen and honored by heaven. To each of you who show up, listen, and align, you are part of this divine movement, and I am deeply grateful. If your spirit resonates with this message, type 77 in the comments now. That number is not random. It is a prophetic agreement with the Most High and the spiritual realm that you are ready. Ready to receive divine increase, ready to inherit divine promises, ready to step into the divine positioning that heaven has already assigned to your name. Not everyone will make it to the end of this message. Only those who are truly chosen to carry abundance with integrity will remain. For those who stay, there will be clarity, spiritual strategy, and prophetic awareness concerning the wealth shift that is already in motion. This is not merely a feel-good message. It is a spiritual blueprint, a living word that will speak to you differently each time you encounter it. So when your spirit requires a reminder, return to it, because with each replay, another layer of revelation will rise to the surface. Your days of borrowing are coming to an end, and your season of lending, leading, and building is just beginning, not by chance, but by divine design. Now let us begin. Chapter 1. God witnessed every moment of your struggle, yet He never allowed you to break completely. Chosen one. Before we proceed any further, it is essential that you grasp something profound. God was present through it all, not only during your victories, not only when you publicly offered praise, but also in your most private moments of despair. He was there in the silent breakdowns that occurred behind closed doors, in the nights when you clutched your chest and questioned how you would make it through the next day. He was present in the moments when your prayers were too heavy for words and flowed only as tears. He saw every second of it. You know what it means to survive on empty. You've had to put on a brave face while your world was quietly unraveling. There were entire seasons where you served as the encourager for others, even while secretly wondering who would encourage you. You were not merely borrowing time or money. You were borrowing peace from Scripture, hope from promises that had not yet come to pass, and strength from a faith that often felt paper thin. Outwardly, you appeared composed, but inwardly, you were stitched together with fragile belief and silent, desperate prayers. Though you didn't always have people to support you, you never lacked the presence of the Spirit. Though material provision was not always within reach, you always had access to the provider. That in itself is why you're still standing today. There were days when your emotions felt as though they might collapse under the weight of it all. Days when your soul was so weary that giving up almost seemed like an act of mercy. And yet in those moments, something or someone kept whispering to your spirit, "Not yet, you're almost through." And so, you kept moving forward. Even when the silence from heaven made you question whether your prayers had been heard at all. But you weren't just enduring hardship, you were being refined by it. You were sitting in a divine classroom, learning lessons that cannot be taught in comfort. From those painful seasons, you gained endurance. Through your empathy, you developed compassion. In the darkness, you cultivated vision. And in your trials, you were shaped by humility. There were times in your life when you helped others during your own dry seasons. Times when your own needs were great, yet you gave generously to those around you. Some of the very people you supported during those difficult periods eventually turned away and acted as though they had never known you. Still, you chose to pour into others even when your own cup was empty. And you did so not out of weakness, not out of obligation, but because you were divinely called to serve, even in lack. Heaven took note of every act of love, every sacrifice, every silent offering. Because before God entrusts someone to become a lender, before he releases the blessing of overflow, he observes how that person behaves in seasons of lack. He is not doing this to punish you, but to position you for greater. He does not allow scarcity to starve you, but to sharpen you. Your character was being forged in the fire of insufficiency. You see, while many people desire abundance, very few possess the depth of character required to carry that abundance with honor and humility. Lack is a stern yet effective teacher. It will teach you lessons that entitlement never could. It will shape the way you handle every seed you are given, making you intentional and wise with your resources. You will become careful and compassionate because you will never forget what it felt like to be in need, to wait for a miracle, to pray for just enough to get through the day. That is why God allowed you to walk through what you did, not as punishment, but as preparation. So that when the time comes and you become the lender, when your hands are finally blessed to carry overflow, you will not use your blessings to boast. Instead, you will use them to bless others. You will not forget the road you traveled, nor the one who brought you through it. This is the part of the journey that many people attempt to skip. They long for the crown but resist the cross. They want to reap the harvest without enduring the hardship. But you endured it all. You bore the weight of suffering, and still you never turned your back on God. You never exchanged your soul for a shortcut. You waited, you wrestled, and you remained faithful through it all. And now heaven is responding. You were not broken to pieces, you were broken open. And what poured out of you was not bitterness or defeat, but purity, purpose, and unwavering faith. That is why this moment is your confirmation. This is why God has chosen you to transition from borrower to lender, because you have been tested and now you are ready. Chapter 2. The Borrowing Season. Train your character. There are few experiences in life that humble a person more profoundly than having to borrow. It humbles you in ways that no achievement or title ever can. Borrowing strips away layers of pride. It confronts your ego and challenges your self-image. It places you in a vulnerable position where, instead of declaring victory, you are required to open your mouth and ask for help. And that kind of asking, the kind that comes from desperation and need, can cause your hands to tremble. It can make you feel invisible, exposed, or even ashamed. Not because you were doing anything wrong, but because you were in the process of learning something deeply right. God was never trying to humiliate you. That was never his intent. He was shaping you. He wasn't punishing you. He was preparing you. Every moment of lack, every season of waiting, every tear shed in quiet frustration was not meant to destroy you, but to discipline your spirit for a greater legacy. Because the truth is this: abundance without character is not a blessing, it's a burden. And God is not in the business of raising careless or reckless lenders. He is forming responsible stewards, individuals who can carry blessing with maturity, integrity, and compassion. You may have thought you were simply surviving. You may have believed that you were just doing what you had to do to get by. But in reality, you were undergoing spiritual training. God was refining your heart, putting it through fire, not to harden it, but to test if it would remain soft, tender, and humble. There is nothing that reveals the true state of your character like having to rely on others when everything within you longs to be self-sufficient. You were placed in positions where you had to trust people who didn't always extend grace. You were required to smile in rooms where you were ignored, overlooked, and underestimated. You had to carry your dignity with you as you walked through the long, painful hallway of humiliation. And that kind of strength, the quiet, dignified strength of endurance, is something that only heaven can measure and fully understand. There are many who crave the title of lender for how it looks on the outside. They are drawn to the spotlight, the influence, and the perceived power that comes with it. but they lack the inner infrastructure, the emotional, moral, and spiritual foundation needed to carry the true weight of responsibility that comes with overflow. They desire the glory that accompanies abundance, but resist the obedience and sacrifice that must come first. They want the testimony without the testing, the results without the refinement. But you, on the other hand, endured what others could not. You waited patiently when others rushed ahead. You kept your heart pure in a world that constantly tempted you to compromise. You did not manipulate your way out of pressure, nor did you forfeit your calling for temporary comfort. You did not chase a counterfeit version of success. You refused to hustle your way into a false abundance built on appearances. Instead, you trusted the process, even when it felt like punishment. You submitted to the slow, sacred work of God within you. And because of that, your character has been forged in the fire of endurance. You are not simply stepping into abundance, you are being trusted with it. Not for your glory, but for God's. Not to flaunt it, but to steward it. Because what you gained in the borrowing season wasn't just survival, it was strength. And what was formed in you then will carry you now. It was never just about money. What you were borrowing went far deeper than finances. You were borrowing peace in the midst of chaos. You were borrowing clarity during seasons of confusion. You were borrowing patience and strength just to keep showing up with excellence, even when your efforts went unnoticed and unappreciated. And through all of that, through every unseen sacrifice and quiet act of faith, you never lost your identity. You never abandoned who you truly were just to survive. You didn't become someone else to make it through. Instead, you remained authentic, silent yet steady, hidden yet holy, weary yet willing to be taught. And that, beloved chosen one, is precisely why you are being elevated now. Because when you had every logical reason to give up, you chose instead to grow up. When countless opportunities arose for you to compromise your values, you clung to character. And heaven took notice. Heaven recorded every silent sacrifice, every act of integrity, every moment when you chose faith over convenience. Now God can trust you with overflow, not because your prayers were loud, but because your walk was quiet. Not because you had influence or followers, but because you had unwavering faith. Not because you achieved perfection, but because your heart remained pure. You passed the test when no one was watching. You passed the test not with applause or accolades, but with tears, with stillness, with empty hands lifted in surrender. And it is that kind of obedience, the kind rooted in humility and hidden devotion, that echoes louder in heaven than any public performance ever could. And so now everything is beginning to shift. God is releasing what he previously withheld, not because you finally earned it through your works, but because your character has been proven strong enough to carry it. You are not just being blessed, you are being entrusted. Because what God is about to place in your hands is not intended solely for your benefit. It is designed to bless nations. It is meant to shape generations. This is not merely a moment of elevation, it is a divine confirmation. It is the evidence that the pain trained you, that the pressure refined and purified you, and that your obedience in secret has prepared you for visibility and purpose. And now, because of all you have endured and all you have overcome, you are ready, not just for provision, but for more than enough. Chapter 3. The transfer is supernatural. What is taking place in your life right now is not a natural occurrence. It is a supernatural move. Chosen one, it is imperative that you fully grasp the magnitude of this moment. This is not a typical upgrade. It is not merely a standard progression or a routine level up. No, what you are stepping into is a divine transfer, an extraordinary shift that transcends every conventional principle the world teaches about success, advancement, and recognition. This transformation that is unfolding before you cannot be explained by logic. It is not the result of relentless hustle, strategic networking, or meeting the world's qualifications. What is happening is beyond the realm of human explanation and can only be credited to the sovereign hand of God moving on your behalf. The breakthroughs and blessings about to manifest in your life will shatter natural laws and human expectations. They will bewilder those who previously deemed you unqualified. They will silence the critics and skeptics who questioned your readiness, your legitimacy, or your worthiness. because what is coming forth in your life is not the result of man's approval. It is the result of divine appointment. This will not be something that can be traced back to connections, credentials, or conventional systems. It will be unmistakably marked by God's glory. This is not a promotion that you earn through man's hierarchy. This is an inheritance you were destined to walk in as a child of the King. You are being ushered into a dimension that surpasses reason and defies earthly understanding. The elevation you are about to experience does not originate from boardrooms or resumes. It originates from heaven's decree. The kind of wealth, wisdom, and favor you are about to walk in is not tied to your academic achievements, your professional accolades, your family lineage, or your financial history. It is not coming to you because you fulfilled every worldly checklist. It is coming to you because you aligned your life with God's will, even when that obedience cost you dearly. You stayed faithful to the instructions others disregarded. You honored divine timing when it would have been easier to rush ahead. You surrendered when others clung to control. And now, because of that unwavering trust, the fullness of what was always yours by inheritance is about to unfold, with undeniable power and supernatural clarity. What is unfolding in your life at this very moment is not about what is fair by human standards. It is entirely about what has been ordained by heaven. This divine transfer has nothing to do with merit, as the world defines it, and everything to do with divine assignment and spiritual positioning. God himself is orchestrating a sovereign reversal. He is transferring resources, influence, and authority out of the hands of the wicked and into the hands of the righteous. The systems of man, those built on corruption, greed, and ego, are being shaken to their very core. And in the midst of that shaking, heaven is rebuilding an economy that will function not through self-interest, but through the obedient stewardship of his chosen ones. This moment is not about ego. It is not about visibility, popularity, or clout. It is about assignment. It is about God placing supernatural provision into the hands of those who will use it for divine purpose. And you, chosen one, have been divinely positioned for this very hour, not because you campaigned for recognition, not because you leveraged connections or strategically maneuvered your way into influential rooms. You are in position because you remained hidden until heaven gave the command to move. You didn't chase platforms, you chased God's presence. You didn't pursue material riches, you pursued divine revelation. You didn't follow the trail of money, you followed the still sacred voice of divine instruction. And because of your obedience, heaven is now opening realms of blessing and influence over your life. What you are about to receive is not the result of your own strength or strategic planning. You did not build it by your own hands. You surrendered into it through faith. This transfer has nothing to do with hustle. It has everything to do with harvest. And when heaven releases something into the earth, no human authority, no gatekeeper, no opposition can block or delay what God has decreed. What you could not build in 10 years of striving and grinding by human means, God is about to place in your hands in a single supernatural moment. This is precisely why your obedience mattered. This is why your patience was essential. This is why your faith had to endure intense testing. Because what is being released into your life now cannot be sustained by natural ability. It must be sustained by the Spirit of God. And you, the one who has been trained and refined in secret, are now being released into a season of public fulfillment. So when the doors swing open, when the contracts arrive without you having to chase them, when the influence expands beyond what you imagined, remember this truth. This is not natural. It is supernatural. It is the evidence of a divine transfer already set in motion. And it came because heaven found in you a vessel it could trust. You are the one who remained faithful in the dark, the one who built in silence, the one who passed the hidden test with integrity and surrendered faith. Now the reward is no longer a distant hope. It is a present reality. You are no longer waiting on the promise. You are standing in it. Chapter 4. God is reversing the roles and the world will see it. Chosen one, you must understand that everything around you is shifting, radically, divinely, and unmistakably. And this shift is not occurring in secrecy or silence. It is unfolding publicly, in full view of those who once misunderstood you, dismissed you, overlooked your value, or doubted your calling. This is not simply a change in circumstances. It is a divine reversal, an intentional and sovereign reordering of spiritual authority, earthly positioning, and relational dynamics. What is taking place in your life at this very moment is not random. It is prophetic fulfillment. God is orchestrating a role reversal so distinct and undeniable that even those who once rejected you will have no choice but to witness it. You were once the one who asked for help, asked for a chance, asked to be seen, heard, and considered. But now, by divine elevation, you are becoming the one who answers. Not out of pride or self-promotion, but as a result of God's sovereign promotion over your life. Where you once carried questions, you will now carry solutions. Where you once held emptiness, you will now hold access. The seasons in which you waited for a phone call, waited for an open door, waited for an invitation, waited to be chosen, are over. Now you are the one initiating the call. You are the one extending the invitation. You are the one opening the doors through which others will walk. The very tables you once longed to sit at are now the ones you are being called to lead. You were once dependent upon others to survive, to eat, to be affirmed, to be sustained, even to believe in your own potential. But now, in a divine shift of positioning, others will come to depend on you. And it will not only be for material resources or external support, it will be for your wisdom, your discernment, your strategic insight, and the alignment that flows from the anointing upon your life. Remarkably, many of those who once ignored or underestimated you will not even realize that they are now being led, taught, or nourished by the very person they once overlooked. Understand this clearly. What is happening is not a coincidence. It is a deliberate and prophetic reversal, ordained by God and revealed in His perfect timing. And this reversal is not meant to occur in the shadows. Heaven is not concealing this moment. God is intentionally putting your elevation on display, not for the glorification of your name, but for the magnification of His. Because your pain, your process, and your perseverance were seen and endured publicly, your promotion must now also be witnessed publicly. Not to feed your ego, but to reflect God's glory. What you are stepping into is not just a new chapter, it is the fulfillment of a divine promise. This is God's way of showing that nothing done in faith, in sacrifice, or in silence has gone unseen. Now the world will see what heaven has always known, that you were chosen, prepared, and positioned for such a time as this. God, in His infinite wisdom, chose to hide your training in secret places. He allowed you to be misunderstood, mishandled, and underestimated. Not as a sign of rejection, but as a method of refinement. Every hidden season, every misjudged moment, and every overlooked effort served a divine purpose, so that when He raises you into visibility and authority, there will be no confusion about the source of your promotion. People will look upon your life and declare with certainty, that had to be God. They will come to understand that they were not merely witnessing a comeback story, but rather observing a calling being fulfilled before their very eyes. You were never simply trying to survive. You were being shaped for service, for impact, for legacy. Those who once saw you crawling in weakness will now watch you soaring in strength. Those who dismissed your voice as irrelevant or unqualified will soon seek your counsel as invaluable. Those who once considered themselves above you will be left with no choice but to acknowledge the divine weight that rests upon you. And understand this clearly. This moment is not about revenge. It is not about proving people wrong. It is about revelation. God is revealing to the world what He placed inside you all along, what He was developing in obscurity while the world wasn't watching. This divine shift that is now taking place in your life will serve as undeniable proof that favor is real, that grace is tangible, that obedience carries supernatural weight, that the waiting you endured was never a waste. It was, in fact, a weapon in God's hand, preparing you for such a time as this. The world will see and know that what is unfolding in your life is not the result of luck. It is not the product of influential connections or strategic social climbing. It is not a random stroke of fortune or a lucky break. No, they will know that it was God. The same God who saw your prayers when no one saw your tears. The same God who covered you when the world forgot your name. The same God who comforted you in silence and strengthened you in solitude. And here is the most powerful truth of all. They will come to understand that you were never meant to live a life of borrowing. You were never created to remain in a posture of asking, begging, or lingering in the background. You were meant to bless. You were meant to lead. You were meant to provide, to shift atmospheres, to establish new standards, and to build legacies that will outlive you. Chosen one, this is your harvest season. But it is more than just personal elevation. It is divine demonstration. God is using your life as a public testimony of what happens when someone chooses to remain faithful in the valley. He is showing the world the outcome of surrendered obedience, quiet endurance, and unwavering trust. This is not just your rise, this is heaven's reveal. But chapter 5, the lender mantle comes with a mission. Chosen one, as you step into this next level of elevation, it is essential that you remain deeply rooted in purpose and clarity. Do not confuse this divine promotion with worldly definitions of success. This season is not about flaunting prosperity, displaying status, or curating an image to earn applause. It is not about posting pictures to prove you've made it, nor is it about accumulating validation through visibility. This is not a season about simply looking blessed. It is a season about being a blessing. You are not being lifted to impress people. You are being positioned to make a profound impact. God is bestowing upon you the mantle of a lender, a sacred responsibility, not a casual reward. And that mantle comes with a mission. This is no longer personal territory. This is kingdom territory. God is about to release wealth, wisdom, and influence into your hands. But this release is not for vanity. It is not merely for your comfort, convenience, or personal indulgence. It is for a greater cause. You are about to become a divine resource in a broken, fractured world. You will walk into spaces desperate for light, and you will be that light. You will carry answers into environments where others are still praying for direction. You will carry provision into communities still pleading for survival. This mantle is turning you into a solution bearer. In a world that is groaning for answers, you will walk with divine insight. When human systems collapse and man-made strategies fail, you will bring God-breathed strategy. When people cry out for help, you won't simply offer words of comfort or distant prayers. You will respond with tangible action and divine intervention. You won't just write checks, you will fund change. You will fund visions, dreams, ministries, and kingdom systems that don't entertain or conform to trends, but elevate people into their God-given purpose. You will not just support platforms, you will birth movements. And these movements will not be rooted in ego or self-promotion, but in eternal purpose. They will break generational cycles, restore fractured families, and awaken dormant callings. You will support the unseen dreamers because you remember what it felt like to be unseen. You will employ the overlooked because you recall the pain of being underestimated. You will build tables not for exclusivity, but for inclusion, for the rejected, the outcast, and the forgotten. You will become a bridge that carries people from barely surviving into a place of stability, and from wandering without direction into a walk grounded in destiny. You will rebuild ruins, not only in physical spaces, but in bloodlines, in identities, in generations. You will be a vessel through which families broken by poverty find restoration, through which children imprisoned by generational lack find hope and freedom. You will sow into ministries that don't just preach, but feed, clothe, and lift. You will be the answer to prayers whispered in secret. You will stand in the gap with provision, strategy, and compassion. The enemy fears this wealth because it is not selfish, it is strategic. It is not designed to build mansions of pride, but to expand mission fields. It is not focused on chasing luxury, but on releasing legacy. This is why the warfare over your life has been so intense. This is why your finances were attacked so relentlessly. This is why your mind came under fire and your confidence was shaken. Because the enemy saw what was coming. He saw the impact of your obedience, the reach of your anointing, and the weight of your future mantle. He knew that once you reached this level of clarity and alignment, he could no longer distract you with counterfeit comforts. But now, chosen one, the mantle is resting on you. And with it comes a mission, not just to receive, but to release. Not just to rise, but to restore. Not just to gain, but to give. You are not stepping into wealth for wealth's sake. You are stepping into a divine assignment, to fund, to free, and to fulfill what heaven wrote about you before the foundation of the world. God protected you. He cleaned your heart and purified your motives. He taught you how to manage both money and responsibility. You didn't lie or manipulate to get here. You didn't take shortcuts or compromise to rise. You walked through pain and came out prepared. This lender mantle is not just about what you receive. It's about what you are responsible for. Heaven is watching how you use what God gives you. You will stay humble even when you have more than enough. You will stay faithful even in abundance. You will lead with wisdom. You will give with purpose. Because this is not just about money, it's about your mission. God could have picked anyone, but He picked you. He saw your heart when no one else did. He saw your love even when you had little. He saw your loyalty when no one was watching. Now the weight of this calling is falling on you, not as a burden, but as a sign of trust. You are not rising for attention or fame. You are rising for the sake of future generations. Your overflow will bless whole nations. This is your mantle, and you are ready. You didn't just survive. You were shaped by the fire. And now God will use your life to show the world that prosperity with purpose is real. You're not rising by chance. You're rising on purpose. You're rising on assignment. Chapter 6. You won't have to chase. Supply is chasing you. The days of running after success, forcing doors open, and begging for opportunities are over. The season of desperation has ended. A new season of divine provision has begun. You are entering a time where you don't have to chase. Instead, blessings will come to you. Doors will open without you knocking. You won't struggle just to survive. You will walk in supernatural supply. Why? Because your source has changed. You are no longer relying on human help. You are connected to heaven's abundance. You're not chasing money anymore. Money is following your purpose. Resources are finding your calling. Provision is coming because of your obedience. This is the result of passing the test in your wilderness season. You kept tithing, even when you had very little. You stayed faithful to your calling, even when things seemed hopeless. You did not give up your integrity to escape the hard times. You trusted God when everything around you looked like failure. Now it's harvest time. Heaven is about to pour out blessings so great you won't have room to receive them. And understand this: what's coming is not just a return for your hard work. It is a reward for your faithfulness. You are about to receive blessings you didn't earn in natural ways because you sowed seeds in spiritual ways. Doors you never knocked on will open suddenly. Unexpected opportunities are coming. Favor you could never buy is being given to you. This is not about your effort. It is about your alignment with God. God is blessing your position, not just your performance. You are being provided for by a realm others can't see. That's why people didn't understand your patience. Your help was not from earth. It came from the throne of God. While others were counting your money, heaven was counting your obedience. Now the reward is being revealed. Chosen one, you are in a new place. You no longer chase provision. You receive it by walking in your divine purpose. You don't beg for leftovers. You speak with confidence because of your covenant with God. Opportunities are being drawn to your anointing. Influence is increasing, not for attention, but because you are ready to serve. Heaven is supporting what you built faithfully in private. And here's the best part. Multiple income streams are forming. Your ideas are becoming sources of income. Your visions are turning into real businesses. Your voice will open doors for your needs. Your gift will bring you before important people. This is not happening because you promoted yourself. It is happening because God chose and marked you. You are now in a season where the harvest comes to the harvester. Miracles come to those who are mature. You are no longer begging, you are building. You are not striving, you are managing what God gave you. Chapter 7. This is just the beginning, but everything has changed. Chosen one, understand this with clarity. What you are experiencing is not the conclusion of your journey, but rather the divine beginning of a far greater assignment. Although you are indeed stepping into a new role as a lender and are being elevated in visible and tangible ways, this moment does not represent the final destination. Instead, it serves as the launch pad into a higher dimension of purpose and impact. You have entered a season where your consistent posture of obedience has unlocked not just temporary blessings, but a permanent position of supernatural overflow. Heaven has not merely reacted to your prayers, it has been waiting patiently for your alignment with divine timing and intention. Now that you have endured the process, passed the tests, and remained faithful to the assignment placed in your hands, God is not only blessing you with increase, He is building something eternal through your life. You are not simply walking into a season of wealth, you are walking into a season of witness, where your life becomes a testimony to the power of God's restoration and a visible demonstration that His word still stands true. Your transformation is not just for your benefit, it is proof to others that redemption is real and available. You are becoming a living prophecy, a walking expression of God's redemptive plan, and your elevation is neither random nor accidental, but a moment predestined and written into your life scroll before you were ever formed in your mother's womb. Though you are indeed becoming a lender, that is merely one facet of the greater work God is doing through you. You are being established as a trusted distributor in the kingdom, a spiritual vault of divine resources, a builder of nations, a restorer of broken foundations, and a torchbearer who will carry light for generations yet to be born. What is being birthed through you now is designed to outlive you, and what is being entrusted to you will echo across decades. Your life no longer belongs to you alone. Every decision you make now carries the weight of legacy, and through you, God is shaping the future. Your grandchildren will be able to trace their stability, safety, and success back to your decision to fully trust God. They will look back and say, someone in our family finally trusted God completely, and now we live in blessing because of it. Chosen one, this is not just about getting out of debt, it's about breaking the spiritual patterns that caused it. You are reversing years of struggle, you are canceling past generations' patterns of lack and limitation. With your life, you are declaring, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord and live in overflow. You are not just changing your finances, you are changing the atmosphere around you. You are not just earning money, you are making choices that influence culture, create new ideas, and build lasting impact for God's kingdom. Understand this. Your season of barely having enough taught you many things. It taught you to depend on God more than on money. It taught you to build character before chasing cash. It taught you that favor is more valuable than followers, and wisdom is better than wealth. Now you can move forward without bitterness, but with clear direction. You have been trusted with more because you showed that you wouldn't be consumed by it. You are not entering this new beginning as your old self. You are entering wiser, stronger, and more refined. You now understand that being a lender is not just a reward, it's a responsibility. You know your elevation is meant to help others, not just yourself. From now on, your decisions must be guided by legacy. Your everyday actions must reflect that you are the first of many to rise. Because this increase is not just for you, it is meant to bless entire communities and help rebuild broken places. And if you're still hungry for more chapters to this journey, or a visual concept for a video or thumbnail, just say the word. I'm here and ready to help bring it all to life. Thanks for watching. Here ends this video. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. If you find this video interesting,